Welcome everyone to the 5th annual Vigil for Elephants, where we are honoring 52 plus elephants that have died this year in captivity. Now I say 52 plus because there are other elephants in other parts of the world that have also passed, and the panel here is going to give you some of the statistics on those. It's so tragic. We want to start right now with Marilyn, who is going to speak first. So let me bring our cast in here. And Marilyn, please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you for having us, Lindsay. What we would first like to do is just briefly take a moment to read the Vigil for Elephants mission statement, just to familiarize everyone with what we do. And our mission statement reads, captive held elephants are treated as commodities to generate profit for zoos, circuses, and other entertainment venues, shuffled from place to place with no regard for their well-being, often spending the majority of their time alone in substandard conditions without the space required by the largest land mammal on Earth. These elephants die prematurely of diseases such as arthritis, foot disease, tuberculosis, EEHV, and other illnesses brought on by the unnatural conditions of their confinement. And elephants in captivity also display stereotypical swaying, rocking, and bobbing movements, which are symptoms of extreme psychological stress and trauma. So the International Candlelight Vigil for Elephants serves to honor these extraordinary beings and their birthright of freedom. The International Candlelight Vigil for Elephants is an offering of remembrance and a call to walk gently upon the earth with compassion and respect for all who share our one planet.
Okay, thank you very much. Now I want to put this question out to the panel. How did the Vigil for Elephants get started? And also, what are the tasks that you guys perform as members of this organization, as the lead members of this organization, I should say? So who would like to start? We can go around, just raise your hand. And let's keep it brief. You don't have to say thank you for having us. I know you are grateful for having you. Just let's get into it. Go ahead, Kirsten.
Thank you, Lindsay. I can talk a little bit about how this started. This actually began with a rhinoceros who was held in the Los Angeles Zoo in a very small enclosure. She was alone. Her name was Rhonda the rhinoceros. She died. She was euthanized at the zoo in 2017. And a group of us in Los Angeles held a vigil to honor her. And we also included all of the elephants who had died over the years in the Los Angeles Zoo. And this was picked up by these different elephant organizations represented here today, and became the International Candlelight Vigil for Elephants over the years. We held our first vigil as this group in 2019, and this is our 5th annual vigil, and every year it has just grown as we have really reached out around the world, and there are people now around the world who work with us and provide us information as we learn about these elephants in zoos and circuses and temples and festivals and other entertainment and tourist venues around the world who are having horrific deaths after leading lives of suffering in captivity. So we really are grateful to everyone around the world who is participating and honoring these elephants with us.
And of course, I want to remind everyone that we will be lighting a candle in the second half of this program. So who else would like to, and would anyone else like to speak on that point of how you guys got organized, what you do, what you think is important about it, anything you want to add in this topic area?
I'll say something. Well, Lindsay, when you start to look at the groups represented and the people represented, you see that we span the globe. We now have people interested in recognizing, honoring, and showing some respect to these captive elephants that have been unjustly held in captivity, taken from their birthright, their natural wild existence, that they evolved millions of years before us. They're much older than us on this planet. And that we subjugate them in captivity, and the horrors that they face and the suffering we cause them when we've done this to them. And we're going to talk more in detail about that later. But what's interesting about the Vigil group is looking at the representation and how all four corners of the United States are represented: Canada, South America. We have groups from Asia. Now we have advocates even from China reaching out to us to give us information about elephants inside China, which is very difficult to get information.
That's amazing.
So that's one thing I'd like to add, is that awareness is growing. And that is one thing, that's one of the reasons why we think the Vigil is so important, not only to recognize the value and individual importance of each of these elephants' lives, but also to help spread awareness so that the elephants who still need our help, who are still trapped in captivity, we can hopefully raise awareness with the public of what's so wrong about keeping elephants in captivity.
I just want to cut in here for a moment and just talk about a couple of the comments. Tom Vincel: elephant mortality rate is extremely high in zoos. It's inhumane to keep them there. Yes, we're going to discuss that, Tom. And we have people watching from everywhere. So it's wonderful. And we invite all of you to please share out this video. And we'll be talking a little bit more of how you can do that. And we will be putting all of the social media links for this group at the top of this post. So when you share it out, it gives you and everyone else all the information that you need. So let's go ahead and go forward. Does anyone else want to make a comment right now? Okay, so let's see, who's next? We're going to talk about how many, well, we said there are 52 elephants being memorialized. Who would like to share more about, that's not the full number. So tragically, there are many, many more. Who would like to share on that? Love.
Yes, I'd like to share what we have discovered over the years since 2019. Obviously, when we first started these vigils in 2019, we weren't getting all of the information from all over the world that we're getting now. So as Sandra said, we've grown significantly, and we're able to gather that information from so many advocates from all over every continent in the world. Because of that, we're able to find out more about each individual elephant in a circus or zoo, as well as those in temples and festivals, and those that are being kept in the wild in the large areas such as Kruger National Park and Amboseli National Park in Africa, so that we're getting some more information about the wild elephants that are dying as well. We did discover that this year there are 49 circus and zoo elephants that have died just in zoos and circuses, and that significantly has gone up over the years, that number. And we're finding that keeping elephants in captivity in zoos is just not being productive at all, not for the zoos and definitely not for the elephants. There are
there's an article here about in the LA Times about Billy, who is in the LA Zoo. So there is documentation in the media that there are many, many people that do not want to see elephants in zoos, but the controversy continues. Just wanted to add that in. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Well, that's true of many of the zoos, who especially the ones that are holding captive lone elephants, those that are living by themselves without any kind of herd or any companionship. It's a real problem. We also are commemorating today 10 sanctuary elephants, those that died in sanctuary. Unfortunately, when they get to sanctuary, most of the elephants are on their last legs to begin with, and they don't last long in sanctuary, which is so unfortunate and so tragic and so sad for all of us when we see an elephant finally being taken to sanctuary and they die shortly thereafter from the terrible ravages of captivity, such as foot disease and osteoarthritis and some of these awful medical problems that they just cannot overcome. in sanctuary, no matter how good the sanctuary is, no matter how well their treatment is, physically and emotionally. Their years in captivity have just ravaged them.
What
We
about
also
the
have,
elephants? And let me just ask you a quick jump in, because I think some folks might be wondering the same thing. What about the elephants that come in at a younger age? Obviously, the calves would have a much better chance, but even if they're a couple of years old, I understand elephants live a very long time. So if they're a few years old, do they have a better shot in a sanctuary?
I would think that they would, yes, because they would be getting better medical treatment. They would have the best of space in order to do their natural things, such as foraging and browsing. They would be able to be with other elephants at the sanctuary. I'm not aware of any babies or any young elephants who have been brought to sanctuary. Most of the ones that have been brought are in their 40s, 50s, 60s. So by the time they get there, like I said, they don't do well. Most of the babies that are dying in zoos are those that have EEHV, which is the endotheliotropic herpes virus. And that virus is very deadly for the babies because of their immune systems, which have not developed. So we're not going to see very many babies going to sanctuary. We're only going to be seeing those that the zoos are willing to give up for whatever financial purposes are theirs, to bring those elephants to sanctuary. We know also about some festival elephants this year. We counted 16 festival elephants that we've heard about, knowing that there are probably many others that we never hear about dying in the festivals in India and across Asia. They're treated very cruelly. They go through a crush period in their early lives to learn how to be subservient to humans. And that terrible crush that they go through really injects a terrible disease of captivity in them. They don't live to be very old, unfortunately. There are countless wild elephants that have died. We got a message at the very end of 2022 about over 200 possible elephants that had died in the wild in Sri Lanka and across Asia.
Staggering numbers, yes.
Yeah. So we
So-
can't keep up with them.
Yeah, so I understand that you try as best you can to keep track of all of the elephants, but it is impossible because of the huge number, a staggering number that are dying. So we want to talk a little bit about, I think we covered, I think, who's next? Kirsten? And you wanted to talk a little bit more about captive breeding. So I think it's a good time to segue over to that, if you would, Kirsten. Okay.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you. So that is something that we're really focused on this year because captive breeding is a big problem. What we really want to raise awareness about is that captive breeding of elephants in zoos and other captive institutions is not a conservation measure. These elephants are not being bred to be returned to the wild. These elephants are being bred to restock the elephants that are on display in zoos and circuses and other tourist attractions. It's kind of a fallacy that's put out to the public that this is conservation, and it's simply not. And these elephants are dying. These baby elephants are dying. They are one of the major effects on them that is causing these early deaths is what Barbara mentioned, elephant endotheliotropic herpes virus, which mostly affects young Asian elephants. And it,
well, just, I mean, yeah, you can just, we go ahead and just keep a little bit more on this because we're almost running out of time and you guys each want to give your takeaway. So
okay. Well, I just wanted to say that researchers have found that up to 65% of the juvenile deaths in European and North American zoos are caused by this disease. It's a horrible, painful disease that these babies are going through, and the deaths are outpacing the births in these captive elephant populations. And I think a really important point that is missed is that not only are these babies suffering, but their mothers are being bred over and over and over, only to go through the trauma and the grief of watching their babies die.
So it's almost like dairy cows where they're having babies and the babies are taken away and the mothers go through, and other animals. But
Right.
right,
And
but
you're right. If for some reason the baby survives, the babies are usually taken away and shipped off to other zoos, which they, in the wild, they would stay with their mothers. A female elephant would stay in her mother's herd for life.
Right, tragic. All right, so we have to move along, unfortunately, because we have so much more to share. So I would like to ask all of you to quickly, not quickly, but briefly tell us what the takeaway that you would like our viewers to take with them. So we'll go ahead and go round circle with Marilyn. We'll just go round again. Go ahead.
Mainly education. I just started myself a few years ago because I saw a picture of an elephant who I found out was Lucy in the snow. And I started talking about her. So education is really is one of the takeaways that we want people to do. In our vigil booklet, we have a list of co-hosts who stepped in and they support, memorializing these deceased majestic elephants. And so we always encourage people to reach out to them, see if there's a petition out there, see if there is a letter to an editor to a certain publication that could state, that elephants should not be kept in zoos. Please consider sanctuary life for the elephants at your particular city zoo. So there are all types of ways to get involved with educating children and their parents about life in captivity for these elephants is short-lived and tragic.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Barbara will be next.
Well, I think as Marilyn said, the biggest takeaway is definitely education. Education has always been key. In my own work with Save Nosey Now, I've been able to inform the public of what's going on out there with the captive elephants. Nosey was a circus elephant, a small circus elephant in a very small Florida zoo who was being traversed all around the country. And at the time, we were just getting all the information out about her that we could to the public through our Facebook and social media groups so that people could follow her and document her and find out what was going on with her so that we could go after the venues where she was going to be giving elephant rides or performing in that circus, where we could go after the local officials, go after state legislatures, governors, right up to the President of the United States. So getting that information out to the public is very, very important. As you can see in this picture that's there now, that's Nosey in 2017 when she was right before she was confiscated, and she was in very bad shape. She looks much more beautiful today in sanctuary. She was confiscated in 2017 and taken to the Elephant Sanctuary in Tennessee, where she's now living a very beautiful life. That's what we want the takeaway here to be. We want people to know that this can happen. Zoos can give up their elephants. Circuses can give up their elephants. They can be sent to sanctuary. They can enjoy all the space, the autonomy, and the independence that they wish. If the zoos will just get on board and do this, circuses as well need to come on board and realize that this is the best life for an elephant.
Thank you. So well said, and thank you so much. Sandra, you can go next. Oops, unmute yourself, please. Oh.
There we go. Okay. I hope that people will take away from this a better understanding of what elephants endure in captivity. Mm-hmm. Everything natural, normal for an elephant is stripped away from them in captivity. They have no autonomy. They have no space to move the way their bodies were evolved to move. They don't get to eat 16, 20 hours a day, natural browse like their bodies were designed to eat. And while yes, in captivity, elephants don't have threats of poachers and they don't have threats of predators, they face other equally deadly threats as a result of their captivity. Heart disease, foot disease, osteoarthritis, chronic ulcers. These are illnesses, and EEHB, TB, these are all illnesses and diseases that cause them extreme pain and discomfort. And you can see that discomfort on display when you see these elephants in captivity rocking and swaying and exhibiting stereotypic behavior, sometimes exhibiting self-harm behavior, because they're trapped. They can't ask for our help any more clearly than they do. And anyone who goes to a zoo and sees the paced paths where they walk the same path over and over, or just sees them just standing one place or another, because that's all they have to do. They have nowhere to go. They have nothing to do all day. This is a large brained, highly intelligent, highly social, empathetic species, and we really must do better for them. They belong in the wild. They do not belong in captivity. They're not here for our entertainment, and us keeping them in captivity is cruel and inhumane.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And then Kirsten, your turn. Unmute.
Thank you. I just wanted to touch again on what it has come up several times, that there is an option for these elephants. And unfortunately, these captive held elephants cannot be returned to the wild. Of course, that is where we would all rather see them. They should not be in captivity in the first place. But since they are, there is an option. They can go to sanctuary, where they will have far more space to roam. They can engage in natural behaviors. They will be free of the stress and the noise of being on constant public display. They will have excellent medical care. And even our very elderly elephants who arrive in sanctuary with all of the horrible impacts of captivity that they're carrying, we still see a significant increase in their quality of life. They still get to enjoy their final years with autonomy and peace and privacy. And we know, we've seen it, that there is healing for these elephants in sanctuary. So we really want to raise awareness with the public that they are not thriving in captivity, that this is a miserable existence. They suffer from physical and psychological illnesses, and that we need to get them out of these situations. They need to be in a sanctuary, and we need to end this institution of captivity.
Okay, so I think Barbara has a closing statement here. Did you want to add something, Barbara? If not, we'll just
really not much more to add. I think that what everybody has said points to the fact that there are options for these elephants that are in zoos and circuses. There are better options for them. And we need to find a way to get to those zoos. The zoo rhetoric and the zoo speak, that I call it, is building this narrative that elephants are okay in captivity and that they're educational for children and adults to see them and to think that they're just fine there. That rhetoric has to change, and that's what we're trying to do with all of our advocacy work. Every single group that's represented here and every single group that's in our co-host list is feeling the same way. We are constantly fighting that zoo rhetoric, and we will continue to fight that zoo rhetoric until we see more elephants moved to sanctuary.
Can I add one thing, Lindsay?
Sure.
Also, what's helping us now counteract some of the rhetoric coming from zoos is the published scientific data. The science proving these impacts is catching up, and the zoos should not be able to say some of the things they've been saying historically, because the data shows and now documents these impacts, physical impacts, mental impacts. Even recently, a recent study in 2020 has proven that elephants experience brain damage from being held in captivity. And it has now been proven in a published scientific study. So it's things we know, it's things we've seen, but now we have the documentation.
We have to add that we don't have access to that study, so we appreciate your input there, but we can't verify it at this moment. So we'll have to let's move on now, but I'm sure what you're saying, it sounds perfectly logical to me personally. And everything that you ladies are saying is so important for the public to digest. and this can be ended by the public. So we're moving on to the second part of the program. I do want to ask everyone to get their candle ready, but first we're going to have a reading with Barbara. Go ahead, Barbara, if you would.
Yes, we have a poem that was written by a fellow elephant advocate and a dear friend of our groups, Julie A. Dixon. She is a well-known poet to us, and she has written another beautiful poem. It is called Not My Baby. Giving birth alone. Where are my sisters, my mother who should be around me, touching, supporting me during this time, soothing my spasm-racked body, awaiting the arrival of my son? But I am alone with only humans, the same humans who hurt me, cause my ears to bleed, starving me so I perform tricks that cause more pain. I give birth, he rushes forth, words and screams of delight burst from their mouths like afterbirth. I stand and watch him struggle to unsteady feet. My trunk pushes away hands. Don't touch him, I want to shout, if I had words. My rumble causes their hands to fall back. After a few days, I know his fate. Humans don't see yet. I will lose him. His lifeless body will lie beneath mine until hands pull him away. I cry, but not only for his tiny soul. He only had days with me, enough to capture my heart. They will not have him, not my baby. I also cry for his release.
Thank you so much for that reading. And now I want to prompt everyone to safely, I have a plate to catch, so safely light your candle. And then you will take turns naming the elephants that we know of that have died. So who will start?
I will start, Lindsay. Thank you. So we're going to read the names of the elephants that we know of who passed during 2022 in zoos and circuses and sanctuaries. Jasmine, Albuquerque Zoo, New Mexico, USA. Karen, San Antonio Zoo, Texas, USA. Maharad, Cologne Zoo, Germany. Flora, Port Saint-Pierre Zoo, France. Sidor Kung Ratana, Mesa Elephant Camp, Thailand. Casper, Elephant Sanctuary Hazy View, South Africa. Kitso, Elephant Sanctuary Hazy View, South Africa. Gina, Parc des Frejus, France. Raj, Hagenbeck Tier Park, Hamburg, Germany. Becco, Columbus Zoo and Aquarium, Ohio, USA.
Shanti, Shizuoka Municipal Niagara Zoo. Umesh, Zoo Zurich, Switzerland. Trisha, Perth Zoo, Australia. Nyoka, Newtonburg Safari Park, Denmark. Omisha, Zoo Zurich, Switzerland. Kibo, Biopark Valencia, Spain. Ruani, Zoo Zurich, Switzerland. Sundar, Bannerghatta Biological Park, India. Hamako, Hamamatsu City Zoo, Japan. Luca, Zoo Osnabrück, Germany. Bandula, Deniwala Zoo, Sri Lanka.
Mina, circus elephant in France. Saigon, the Sydney Zoo, Australia. Motek, Ramat Gan Safari, Israel. Tammy, Toluca Zoo, Mexico. Vijay at Top Slip Elephant Camp in India. Keemwarwar, Amersfoort Zoo in the Netherlands. Kanjana, Sunshine for Elephants, Thailand. Targa, Augsburg Zoo. Boontong, Elephant Special Tours in Thailand. Lazak, the Copenhagen Zoo in Denmark. Dipendra Kali at Tiger Tops Elephant Camp in Nepal.
Jackie, Natal Zoological Gardens, South Africa. Nandan, Chandaka Elephant Camp, India. Lucky, the San Antonio Zoo, Texas, USA. Devi, the San Diego Zoo, California, USA. Bamboo, Oklahoma City Zoo, Oklahoma, USA. Dollop, Zoo Miami, Miami, Florida, USA. Charlie was at the Ringling Brothers Center for Elephant Conservation that was recently purchased by the White Oak Conservation Holdings. Prima, Nandankanan Zoo, India. Savo, Wuppertal Zoo, Germany. Rohini, Playam Elephant Rescue and Rehabilitation, India.
Saitong at Phuket Elephant Sanctuary in Thailand. Asha Wildlife SOS. Saard Pamper a Pachyderm in Thailand. Meidi in Phuket Elephant Sanctuary in Thailand. An infant son of Mayo Lair Pue, Gentle Giants Ongkoi Project in Thailand. Grandma Thangkun, Elephant Haven, Thailand. Pocha, Global Sanctuary for Elephants in Brazil. Sangdown, Elephant Nature Park, Thailand. Buua, Elephant Nature Park, Thailand. Sri Pa, Elephant Nature Park, Thailand. And these last 7 are ones we just found about from our friends in China. We found out about them at the end of December. Apai in China, Porphan in Thailand, Om, Thailand, Dudu, China, Momo, China, Xinjiang, China, and Najia in China. And in our booklet, we identify what zoos they are, locations where they are, since I just named the country only.
Right, and you can receive that booklet by emailing them, vigil4elephants@gmail.com. All of the information will be posted at the top of this post so that you can easily get in touch. Now I'm going to ask everyone to join us in a minute of silence, and we'll be starting right now. Okay, I have one more video because part of this vigil is to talk about gratitude to all of you wonderful founding members, organizers. The founding organizers have put this together, and also all the co-hosts and everyone that has lit a candle and participated. So this gratitude video is for everyone. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank all of you ladies, individuals that are here today. I want to reiterate a couple. I was able to get a couple of the social media during the break. I want to show quickly and reiterate that you can email, is this correct? Email the email address and get a copy of the packet, which gives out all of the package with all the information. And they can follow you on all of these different social media platforms, which will again be posted and pinned at the top of the post. So I understand this concludes the vigil, but I understand that you requested to have a few words about Billy and some of the other elephants in the zoo. So who would like to start? And anyone, we'd like you folks to stick around for that if you would. Go ahead, Kirsten.
Thank you, Lindsay. I just wanted to add that in our package, you can read every single story of each of these elephants that we honored today. They are each an individual with a life of suffering in captivity, and the details of their stories are in the package. And we are so grateful for all the people who will remember and honor these elephants with us. And our hope in our current campaigns is to alleviate the suffering for elephants who are still living, such as Billy the elephant, who has been held in the zoo in Los Angeles for over 30 years, taken from the wild, taken from his mother as an infant. We know that he is suffering. It has been documented that he is having physical and mental dire health concerns. We are working to get him to the sanctuary in Northern California, the Performing Animal Welfare Society, where they have offered to give Billy a forever home. He has a place to go. There is currently a motion in front of the Los Angeles City Council, yet again, another motion. This motion is actually passed through committee. The subcommittee voted to release Billy to sanctuary, and we are waiting for this motion to be calendared for the full council. So we really are asking for the public support. So thank you.
So when that comes about, perhaps you can come on again or at least we'll help you promote that information out to the public. It's a very important point. Did anyone else quickly want to speak? We are running out of time now. Yes, go ahead, Marilyn.
Okay. I'll also make it brief. I work with a team in Edmonton, Canada, and who a lot of you know, is named Lucy, and she has been alone for a number of years in the Edmonton environment. Our hope is that, well, we were able, along with some collaboration with others, to have outside zoo medical assessments done for Lucy back in the fall. So I don't have anything to report today because we still wait for those assessments to be out, hopefully within the next few weeks. I don't want to pin any date down. So that is our main report, but we still have petitions for her that circulate because we want to still keep the pressure on the city. So we do have a petition that calls for oversight, not just of Lucy, but other animals at the zoo in Edmonton, and it is pinned at the top of the Lucy's Edmonton Advocates Project Facebook page. So we would love for everyone to sign, circulate, and see if we can get some more signatures for that. And we all hope that there will be good news for Lucy.
Wonderful. Well, we hope so too. Is there any other news you wanted to report quickly? Anyone? Okay, great. Well, thank you again, ladies. And thank you everyone for watching. We had a wonderful audience today. Full audience stayed through the whole thing. Please take action. The links will be at the top of this post momentarily. Share this out. If you share this out, it will have an amazing effect. And please don't forget to download the app. It's free. You don't even have to give your email address. Oops, let me come on here a minute. Show this for a moment. Unchained TV, free programming, and you can keep up on all the latest programming about animal welfare. So please download the app. You do not have to give even your email, but we hope you do, and we hope you'll do also do a review because we need them. So thank you again, everyone, for watching, and we'll be back next week. Thank you, ladies, for being here today. We appreciate your work so much. It's so important. Thank you.